We discovered an adult male at a dark street corner spinning in circles in an electric wheelchair with his right foot cut clean off.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Synergy Podcast. My name is Justin.
And my name is Emre.
Today we're going to be looking at comments for the question, what are your night shift horror stories, from this subreddit AskReddit. Comment here says, I used to work night shift as a care aide in an old folks home. It was already creepy. The home was an old hospital that was converted. Some kept walking around the courtyard after dark dressed as the Grim Reaper, knocking on doors. It was actually really scary, and he ran off, and the facility got a security guard for a few weeks.
For a few weeks? What do you mean a few weeks?
Right?
How about forever? What the? How? And also, how do they even know that this guy was being dressed up? What if this was a real Grim Reaper?
Yeah,
all right,
it might be. It being some wacko though is definitely scarier to me than the actual Grim Reaper for some reason.
Honestly, yeah, you're right.
I'd rather it be the real Grim Reaper and be like, oh, okay, now I know that. But the unpredictability of some crazy person and a Grim Reaper in a nursing home courtyard. Do you understand how weird that really is?
I work as a security in a mall. They didn't tell me my first night that the kids' machine don't turn off. They make a generic children laughter every 5 minutes. It's 4 a.m. and I'm walking around when I just hear the sound of laughter behind me, the kind you find in horror movies. Turns out I'm the idiot who walks to the noise.
Oh my God. I guess are you paid enough to walk towards the noise, or is it just out of your own volition? Because
right.
I hear children laughing down a dark mall hallway. I'm not going. Sorry.
Oh, I would not go.
I'm the guy who lives because he's too scared. You already know it's not a real kid, so just get out of there. Many, many years ago, I worked at a regional radio station in the middle of nowhere, Australia. I was the overnight operator, keep the overnight playlist running, set up for the morning, do all the manual checks for the next day, and jump on the desk if anything funky happens. I spent a lot of time sitting in what it was essentially a tin shed in the middle of a paddock with dog, shoes off, listening to 50s and 60s music and doing crossword puzzles.
Nice.
Except one night when the roo shooters came through, which are people who hunt kangaroos, side note.
Oh.
They spooked the kangaroos in the paddock, and one of them jumped headfirst through our office window. So there's me, barefoot, half asleep, when this 6-foot-tall kangaroo smashes through the glass window, flooding glass everywhere. My dog starts chasing the kangaroo. I'm chasing my dog. And the kangaroo bounds around the office, knocked shit off the desk in the dark, bleeding everywhere. I ran and opened the door to the studio door, and the dog chased it outside, where I'm assuming the poor thing, the kangaroo, was shot.
Yeah, that's intense.
Also, stop hunting kangaroos.
I don't know about Australia and their wildlife. All I know is terrifying. But also, is it illegal to hunt kangaroos, or is it to the point where there is many kangaroos and they should hunt them?
I think it's legal to hunt them. I don't know. You think they would taste good? Not sure. Probably not.
Me and my partner were looking for a place to post up our ambulance, waiting for the next 911 call. It was around 1 a.m. in South Atlanta. We discovered an adult male at a dark street corner spinning in circles in an electric wheelchair with his right foot cut clean off from about midway up. He was incoherent and had a pillow-sized bag of marijuana in a duffel bag. The marijuana has nothing to do with this, I bet.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the only information we get. Maybe if a duffel bag full of marijuana, maybe he pissed someone off. Maybe he stole the marijuana. That was my first thought.
Oh, yeah.
And then they cut off his leg and were like, you're going to need that. Work in the winter for me is plowing and snow removal. It was late and I had been out for over 24 hours at this point. Pulled over into a small cul-de-sac with the nearest house being over 100 yards away so I could let the truck stay on and so I could stay warm. As I'm nodding off, there was a very loud bang and it felt like someone had pulled on my driver's side door handle. Luckily, I always lock my doors. I immediately threw on every strobe, rear, and headlight and started looking around, and I saw absolutely nothing. It scared the shit out of me. Needless to say, I never sleep anywhere other than lit parking lots now.
Huh. Wow. It must have been someone with a hand. There's no way a deer is coming up and opening up your door.
Well, yeah. Also, the scariest thing about this for me is the fact that he didn't see anything, and he was the second that sound happened, it woke him up, and then he starts looking around and he sees absolutely nothing at all.
Right.
Which is pretty scary. I also was thinking maybe he was dreaming, but I doubt that.
I was also thinking that because I've had that happen to me where I just wake up from noise, but there's nothing there. But,
But
again, we don't
he
know.
could have been about to get robbed. That's also true.
That is also true, and they figured out that it was locked, and I guess, breaking a car window is very hard. I worked at a gas station on the night shift for a year. It was pretty deserted a lot of the time. I didn't see too many bad things except some runaway teens, a super creepy guy who wanted me to date his son after he found out I was married. Weird. And a guy who just stared at me the whole time with just pure hatred but didn't say more than 2 words to me. But the worst thing was on my first night working there, a regular came in with a gun saying he was robbing the place. After what felt like forever of me just frozen in fear, he started laughing and saying it was just a prank. That was 7 years ago, and I still hate his guts.
A real gun?
A real gun. A real gun.
Oh, maybe he was really thinking about doing it, but he just was like, all right, you know what? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No need to call the cops. I'm leaving.
I honestly think that's what happened, because when I read the part where he just froze there what felt like forever, I'm sure he really did freeze there for about a minute, and the other guy that was robbing the place was probably like, you know what, maybe this is a bad thing, like maybe I shouldn't do it, and then took it back.
I kind of realizing what he was really doing.
Right.
It's a water gun. All right. Overnight at the supermarket, man stole the live lobsters and ran out of the store with them in his sweatpants.
Oh.
Like, all in his pants. Lobsters falling out of his pockets, out of the cuffs of his pants, etc. Night manager running after him yelling, and it was quite a sight.
Wait, that's actually... I wish I saw that. That's such a scene.
Man, while that is a horror story and also hilarious... What is it now? Your one job is to make sure no one steals the lobster. Did you get fired after that?
That's so funny. Oh my god.
I'm a paramedic working graveyard shift. This is an actual horror story, I think. One night, got called for a situation unknown. Police on the way. There was a lady around 40, and she just arrived in the country. She was laying on the couch, eyes wide open, pupils fully dilated.
Oof.
There's almost no white in her eyes.
Oh.
She's breathing normally, but she's not moving. At one point, she screamed and her body jerked in a way that no living thing should move. A friend of her was with her, and she was the one who called 911. Trying to figure out what happened to the girl and asking basic medical questions, her friend told me that she had been exorcised twice in Colombia before. At the point, I was a little scared. Since she is not responding at all, bring her to the hospital. All of her muscles were so hard that when we decided to take her to our stretcher, when we were able to carry her like a plank in the stairs. She also tried to scratch my face with her nails, and once every 5 to 10 minutes screamed like something I had never seen before. She went to psych ward after and never heard from her again. 15 years later, I'm still wondering if it was a real demonic possession or just a psych condition.
So I think it's either tetanus or a demon.
Yeah, but the pupil dilation is the weirdest part about that. I mean, that doesn't just happen.
I mean, even if you take tremendous amounts of, psychedelic drugs, no white at all in your eyes. That's kind of.
And the fact that she had been exercised 2 times before,
right.
that is the real thing where she's been dealing with this and trying to get this demonic possession possible. But it's just really scary. And even a paramedic didn't even have, medical answers, or even the doctors or whatever didn't have, legit answers. They were just like, well...
All right, I've been playing Phasmophobia for too long now, all right? So, I know what kind of a ghost it is, all right? Speaking of Phasmophobia, though, Justin, this next one kind of reminded me of it, okay? Security officer here posted one night to an old site that apparently was a hospital being turned into a rest home. With no power on site, all I had was my flashlight and laptop to watch movies because it was a 12-hour watch. Place was massive, and at night you literally can't see all. Anyways, the company had put up a temporary security camera that every time it picked up motion, the thing sends off a loud siren for about 30 seconds. First time the thing went off, I went to investigate with emergency service on speed dial and goosebumps flaring. I wouldn't seem to find what was actually causing it to go off. It then would go off a couple more times into the night. It got to a point where I would just let it do its thing. But every time it went off, I would send shivers down my spine. When we do our handover with the next guard, I would tell him all the time how the sirens just goes off at night. I haven't been back in a while, but man, I still think about that place till this day. It scares me.
Wow. First of all, 30 seconds is a long time when there's
Right?
like a loud alarm going off. It's not just like a little like woo. It's 30 seconds.
That's eerie. That's so eerie.
That's really scary. And then if it's happening multiple times a night, I mean, is this inside? Could it be like an animal?
It's inside.
But even so, like maybe like a bird or like a rat or something small that would be easily missed. And then the siren would scare it more than likely. The idea that it was supernatural is definitely real.
Oh, 100%. Again, like after playing Phasmophobia, we put down the motion sensors. You know when there's a ghost there.
And these ones have alarms.
Exactly. We got the ghost gadgets and everything, guys, all right? We are real ghost hunters, all right? Don't even question it. We are certified. Look at our Steam.
Look at our Steam. More of a very weird event. Sometimes work night shifts. One time was going home around 4 a.m. or so. It was pitch dark outside and very quiet. Person on a bike comes out of nowhere, said he remembered me from middle school, even said the right name, and then rode off.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, that's it?
4 a.m. It's 4. Yeah, that's it.
What?
4 a.m.
What
4
the
a.m.
Dude, what?
Rides up on a bicycle. I don't know why I'm just picturing this. Like, there's literally nothing else around, and it's just this one building, and the guy's just riding past. I don't know. Like, that's just so scary for some reason.
And, like, also, how do you even see someone's face in that much of, like, a darkness? 4
I
a.m.
would have jumped. I would have jumped out of my skin if I just, like got startled by a dude riding a bike, like, that
And
close.
telling me my name? Like,
telling me he knows me and tells me the name of my middle school and shit. Like, woof.
Alright, so this next one actually paints a pretty nice picture, and at first I thought it was going to a really dark place, but it does not. It's actually pretty funny. Working late at my office/workshop one night, I'm doing analysis that takes a while to run, so I tend to snack and watch Netflix, or try to do another mundane task that needs to just run by itself. This is a big building, but I'm in the basement where no one goes, and the aircon shuts off at night with little ventilation so it gets warm. The horror story was more for the security guard that walked in on me, a 2-meter tall man with no shirt on, heavily tattooed, eating cereal at like 3 a.m. walking around. I could never look him in the eyes after that.
Why? I can't look him in the eyes. I would be like, yo, you're, like, amazing. So I wish I had that. I wish I was that me right now.
You know, it kind of reminded me of you because I was like 2-meter tall man, no shirt, heavily tattooed. I feel like you'd probably get there, and eating cereal at 3 a.m.
Yeah, definitely, that would be me anyway. That guy's living the life, let me tell you. Like, he got no problems with that. And if I would have got startled by him, I would have been like, oh, ha, ha, ha. This one is actually scary, like, pretty scary, dude. I used to work at my local college as a receptionist, and I would close up around 9 at night. Even in the summer, it'd already be dark. It was a really big parking lot, and I was starting to make my way to my car, and I noticed that someone was following me. I started walking specifically on the paths that have lights over them and tried to look back at him every so often. He was wearing a large hoodie and had the hood up covering his face. As I started approaching my car, it was the only one in the whole lot. He started running at me. I got in my car and drove off as fast as I could. He just stayed standing in the parking lot as I went. I made a report to the campus security the next day, but nothing ever came of it. I started asking for a security guard to escort me to my car from then on. Nothing like it ever happened again.
What?
The fact that he started sprinting after her.
Yeah.
Scary. B, after she left, she just sees him standing in the empty parking lot.
That's even more terrifying. Like a dead stop and like just looking at you.
Doesn't care at all, just waiting there. Like, are you gonna come back here so I could attack you? I don't even know. Like, what? That's terrifying.
Damn, imagine like watching that on the security camera. I wonder like they recorded that anywhere, because like there's a lot of security cameras.
That guy was after any number of things. Like, I would assume maybe he was trying to rob her, but you never know. Like, serial killers and like, that's real. And then like in a college parking lot, I mean, like,
oh, it goes down in colleges,
just
man.
Feel like that would be the place for a serial killer for some reason. I don't know. I maybe watch way too much crime podcasts and crime shows, but that sounds like something that a serial killer would do. And then the fact that he's standing there makes it seem like he was angry that he didn't get what he was looking for.
Or no, I'm getting chills right now. I'm not lying.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, this one gave me straight chills.
One of the managers came through the drive-thru at 4 in the morning and ordered an absurd amount of food, and then vomited out the window of whoever's car it was onto the drive-thru. Turns out she was a manager that was starting at 7, and she said not to worry about the vomit, that she'd clean it up when she started. The amazing thing is that she arrived on time and cleaned it up. Not a horror story for me, but for sure as hell was one for her.
Oof. She had a rough night, and, she's a trooper. That's all I can say about that. Maybe she was pregnant and she was experiencing morning sickness.
Yeah, 4 a.m. I had to drive through McDonald's for sure. I mean, that yeah, the baby was hungry.
No. At age 16, I was closing up the ice cream shop. It was nearing closing time when a dude comes in, orders a scoop, and sits and nibbles on it real slow. And he was watching me every move I made. He should have finished his treat by now, but he's still eating. This unnerves me, so I go to the doorway to the back of the shop and say, "What? I can't hear you." And I step further into the back and I mumble, and dude figures I'm talking to somebody back there. He immediately gets up and leaves, leaving the rest of his treat on the table. There was nobody else in the back of the shop. I only pretended so it would scare the guy off, and it worked.
Okay, so he's clearly was planning something if he got scared.
Exactly. 100%. And he left his ice cream there. Are you kidding?
That's the best part, man.
And he only ordered one scoop. Like, he ordered the bare minimum you could order at closing time.
Yeah, no, she was smart for doing that.
Oh, what she did was super smart. Like, just like calling in the back, like to pretend that someone was there. That's the best thing you could have done. It probably prevented something bad from happening.
For
honestly.
sure.
The word nibbling, he was like nibbling on it. Like, he was not eating it, like he was just sitting there, like
just
touching
waiting
the ice cream with his tongue, just like looking at you. Like, are you kidding me right now? Get the hell out of here! Right now.
Used to work at a night shift at a 24-hour Walmart. Customers are nuts enough in the daytime, but they become weird after midnight. Once had a elderly guy come in wearing only a jean jacket and fishnet stockings. He came up to my register, leaned in, asked if we carry anything to get rid of lice.
No.
Those plastic barriers are all stores have now to protect cashiers, ? They need to keep those even after the pandemic ends.
Yeah,
I lost count of the times customers got into my personal space to ask about products for fleas, lice, rashes, etc.
No.
That's terrifying.
No, that is so gross. At like some point, is it too late if he like just leans in with his hair, kind of just gets on you? Oh, that is so scary.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the flea. If it jumps, it jumps. You know what I mean? And then you got baby fleas on your head.
Good for you for being able to like calmly handle that. I would have just screamed. I at first would have screamed at the outfit.
I was thinking about that.
What I see is just like some old dude just naked except for fishnet stockings and a jean jacket.
Oh, God,
asking for lice medication. I'm a mortician. One night after picking up a deceased woman, I was driving back to the funeral home. The woman was in the back of the van on a cot, and all of a sudden I hear this soft, high-pitched singing. Oh. Of course, my heart stops for a minute until I remember the nursing home staff had tucked a stuffed animal in with her, and I assumed that must be it. Sure enough, once at the funeral home, I squeezed the little lamb, and it started singing, "Jesus loves me." Could you imagine? Oh my god! Like, you're just like in, like driving. You got a dead body in the back because that's your job, and you just hear "Jesus loves me."
Oh my god! I would have been like, "All right, here he comes. Here he comes."
Oh my god! I would have pulled over, got out. The fact that they just kept driving with that, and they're like, "Okay, I hope it's the animal. I hope it's the stuffed animal. Hopefully, it's
what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't?
What if the lady, for some crazy reason, wasn't actually dead?
Oh my god.
Well, just to make sure, I would go back there and just make sure. And then I would have found the stuffed animal. Either way, I would have pulled over. Well, on that note, that's all we have for today, folks.
And let's go to the outro. That's all we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Catch us every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Remember to have a lovely day.